Kody Brown is furious, and this time it's all about Aurora. Robyn's oldest daughter now has a boyfriend, and Kody did not handle the news well. Really, his overreaction was so bad, he asked Aurora to vacate the house. And from there, things only continued to decline. Kody's finances are in complete disarray, and he claims he can no longer provide for Robyn's children. Now, Robyn, the woman many had seen as Kody's favorite, is devastated, struggling, and amazingly homeless. Hi guys! I know before we go into this tearjerker of a story, don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, let's go into what's really happening. The drama of the Brown family just won't cease, and it has taken another heartbreaking turn. Kody Brown's family is falling apart quickly, and at the fore of it is Aurora's new romance, which has driven Kody crazy. As told by those who know them, Kody is both angry and financially strained. His rage at Aurora's romance, in addition to the increasing burden on his purse, has left Robyn utterly blindsided and without a place to call home. So, how did it come to this? Robyn used to be the anchor in Kody's life. While his marriages to Mary, Janelle, and Christine gradually dissolved, Robyn stuck with him. Most people thought that she was given preference. Emotional support, yes, and a lovely, large home to live in while the other wives barely made ends meet. But those close to the family say things began to break down behind the scenes months ago. The money just isn't there anymore. One insider said Kody can't sustain the lifestyle Robyn and her kids had become accustomed to. Then there was Aurora's boyfriend. That, it seems, was the last straw. Aurora, who is in her early 20s now, met a boy working part-time in Flagstaff. They became close during the months, going to church activities together and even being seen out on regular dates about town. But Kody was livid when he found out. One night he came home and noticed Aurora texting. A friend of the family reports that Kody took her phone, glanced at several of the texts, and just lost it. What ensued was an explosive tirade. Kody called Aurora ungrateful and disrespectful. He told her that she was violating the family's values. Robyn attempted to intervene, trying to break up the fight, and wound up in tears. The room was hectic, heartbreaking, and all too routine for a family accustomed to meltdown emotional blow-ups. But this time, Aurora refused to back down.
After
years of being silent through all the familial drama, she decided to fight back. She informed Kody sternly that he couldn't dictate who she dated. That only made things worse. Kody's rage reached an all-time high. A source close to the family said he issued an ultimatum to Aurora. Either break up with the boyfriend or move out. The fight raged for hours. Kody stormed out of the house for a time, then came back and insisted again. End the relationship or leave. Horrible to see, one neighbor recalled. Robyn was sobbing. Aurora was crying as well, but she did stand firm. And Kody, he was walking back and forth like a man who had totally lost his head. And just when the heartbreak wasn't enough, a much larger crisis was brewing in the background. One that would destroy all of it. Financial devastation. With Christine, Janelle, and Mary out of the mix and no longer adding to the family income, the funds coming in have pretty much evaporated. On top of that, their TV show isn't generating what it used to generate. And no wonder Kody's finances are in dire straits. He's been trying to keep up appearances. Another insider said paying for Robyn's house, paying off debts, and covering legal fees, but it's just not possible anymore. That grand Flagstaff mansion, the one that used to represent Kody and Robyn's higher stature in the family, said to be in foreclosure. Neighbors began to notice mail accumulating letters on unpaid property taxes and late mortgage notifications. Then the moving vans appeared. They began removing furniture late at night, explained one neighbor. It was quiet, surreptitiously, as if they didn't want anyone to see. Robyn looked just devastated. To Robyn, the financial collapse was a shock. She had thought for years that Kody was handling things. But now, insiders report she's discovered the bitter truth. Kody had been withdrawing loans and hitting up credit cards just to keep their way of life floating. And then came the coup de grace. When Aurora finally left, opting to live with a friend instead of under Kody's domination, Robyn was devastated. She begged her daughter to remain and even went so far as to call Aurora's boyfriend, begging him to leave the relationship. But Aurora was resolute. She was tired of being dictated to. Soon after Aurora moved out, eviction notices popped up on the front door. Robyn had no other option than to box up her last children and stay at an extended stay hotel. It was worlds away from the home she once shared. Neighbors say they've seen her around since the move, frequently with tears in her eyes. She always used to look so put together when she was out and about. One Flagstaff resident said, now she just looks broken. And what of Kody? Been living by himself in an RV out on the Coyote Pass property? Yet another tract of land he used to imagine developing for the family. But now that vision is gone. The cash is gone. The family is split and the tension is thicker than ever. Insiders indicate that the blowback has strained Kody and Robyn's relationship more than ever. For the first time, Robyn is beginning to wonder everything. She sacrificed so much to stay with him, said a friend of the family. She kept herself apart from the other wives, stood by him during every scandal, defended him when nobody else would. And now she has nothing to show. For it, that sense of betrayal is deep. Robyn has started looking for work, something she has not done in years, hopes of taking care of her kids on her own. Aurora, however, appears to be doing well. Sources indicate that she's happier than she's been in years. Now released from the constant anxiety of living in a tense home with control issues. And Kody, he's holding strong. He allegedly still feels like he didn't do anything wrong. In private discussions with friends, Kody has allegedly blamed Aurora for splitting the family up. He's also accused Robyn of being too lenient when it comes to disciplining her daughter. He really does think he's the victim. One source said to him, he's been disrespected by his ex-wives, by his kids, even Robyn. And now he can't figure out why nobody seems to appreciate the sacrifices he thinks he's made. Unfortunately, this has not only hurt Kody's relationship with Robyn and Aurora. It's created a deeper rift between him and many of his other kids. Some of them have gone on Aurora's side, criticizing Kody openly and showing support for her choice to stand up for herself. And the family's drama hasn't remained behind closed doors. News of the fallout has taken off with supporters and detractors filling social media with flame. Many have jumped to Aurora's defense, labeling Kody's behavior controlling and emotionally abusive. Let Aurora live her life, wrote one. She's an adult woman who is entitled to be happy without a stepdad breathing down her neck. Others, after years of frustration regarding Robyn being portrayed as the favored wife, are now showing concern for her welfare. Yeah, she made this choice. One commenter wrote, but no woman should be left homeless and humiliated like this. With the dust finally starting to settle, one huge question remains. What's next? Sources say Robyn has quietly begun to think about leaving Kody, but she feels trapped. She feels stuck because of her money situation and her commitment to the younger kids. She doesn't love him the way she used to, said a source. But she also doesn't know how to begin over from scratch. Kody, on the other hand, is said to be hanging on to hopes that he somehow can mend his family connections and establish himself on stable financial footing again. But even some of his most ardent defenders are skeptical that he can manage to do so this time. In retrospect, it's difficult not to view this crisis as merely another sad chapter in a series of dysfunction. Since Robyn became part of the family, things started to change, and not for the better. The other wives felt marginalized. The children felt neglected, and Kody's demeanor became more volatile. For years, Robyn appeared to appreciate the comfort and attention of Kody, particularly when the rest of the family frequently struggled. But all of that is now gone. She's experiencing the same type of struggle the other women went through. Before her, the polygamist family, once famous around the world, which captivated millions of viewers, has disintegrated into emotional meltdowns, shattered relationships, and severe financial problems. In one particularly sorrowful instance, a friend allegedly observed Robyn sitting in a tiny hotel room filled with suitcases and her crying children. She had her hands over her face, crying. "I gave him everything," she cried. "And this is what's left." Her children, frightened and bewildered, queried her about what would come next. Robyn allegedly gazed at them and confessed. "She didn't know. She thinks that she failed them," said the friend. She really believed she was doing the best for her children. But now she's beginning to question whether she made all those wrong choices from the very beginning. The history of Kody Brown and his family has never been an easy one. They made an effort to present a united front, but eventually the cracks started to appear. As Kody's favoritism for Robyn and her children became increasingly blatant, the rest of the family felt relegated to the sidelines. He spent almost all his time at Robyn's house, leaving other wives and children waiting for his presence, his attention, and his support. And then came the pandemic. When CO-19 struck, Kody enforced strict rules on the whole family. Rules that some of his grown children felt were unnecessary and even hypocritical, particularly when it appeared that he wasn't always upholding them himself. Tensions escalated to new heights, especially with his sons, Garrison and Gabriel, who conflicted with their dad about what they perceived as unequal treatment. Things finally started to fall apart. Christine was the first to leave, indicating that Kody no longer expressed love or concern for her or their children. Janelle and Mary soon followed, leaving Kody in what most now judge to be a monogamous relationship with only Robyn alone. The dynamics of the family were forever altered. Some of the older ones, such as Gwen Pan and Hunter, started to speak out. They were frustrated. They told us in interviews and on their social media they felt abandoned. They explained that Kody had checked out as a father, except around Robyn's house. Kody didn't handle the criticism well. In a series of Sister Wives tell-all specials, he fought back aggressively, accusing his children of being turned against him by their mothers. He refused or was unable to look back at what he had done and own up to how things had escalated to this point. And then the worst moment of all arrived. By the time Garrison Brown tragically died in a heat. By the time Garrison's heartbreak death rocked the Brown family to its foundations, Kody was already living on the outside looking in, estranged from much of his children, but sources close to him indicate that painful moment marked a turning point. "It really hit him hard," confided one insider. He finally realized just how fragile life is and how much he's lost with his kids. During the weeks and days following Garrison's passing, Kody would become more contemplative than anyone had witnessed him in years. According to friends, he would begin sharing his regrets. Not for attention, not for publicity, but because he genuinely missed his children. In hushed talks with Robyn, Kody is reported to have admitted, "I don't want to die with my kids despising me. I want to be their dad again." Robyn, also emotionally wounded by the family breakup, urged him to make that initial hard move. "You have to swallow your pride," she advised him. "Apologize and genuinely listen." And so Kody started calling one at a time. He called the older kids first, calling them and waiting to see if they'd answer. Some of them did, others allowed the calls to go unanswered, but he didn't quit. It was intense, according to a family friend. He said Gabriel, and he talked for hours. There was yelling and there were lots of tears, he said. But at the end of it, they were going to meet in person. Kody also contacted Savannah, genuinely apologizing for missing out on birthdays and significant events in her life. With every child, he supposedly owned up to his fault. He didn't attempt to explain anything, he just listened. For once, he wasn't being defensive, said an insider close to the family. He wasn't trying to deflect blame, he just sat with it. The kids' reactions have been mixed. Gabriel and Savannah appear cautiously receptive to reconciliation. Others, such as Gwen and Petten, remain standoffish. Gwen has commented on the record about her reluctance. She's glad he's trying, but said it will take time before she'll trust him again. Paid on. One of Kody's strongest critics was said to be quite blunt. "You can't just walk back into our lives and pretend everything is fine," he told his dad. "Even the younger children were slow to come around. They've been raised on hearing the stories," explained a family friend. "They understand what their mothers and older siblings have endured. They're bewildered, and they hurt too." Nevertheless, Kody's been making small, incremental steps. He'd gone to a dinner with some of his children recently. It was the first time in years they'd all sat together in the same room. He brought flowers for the girls, then just sat and listened while they talked and laughed. It was awkward at first, one of the children confessed, but by the end of the evening, we were actually laughing, sharing old memories. He also showed up unexpectedly at one of his younger children's school productions, beaming proudly from the stands. "You could see it all over his face," said another parent who attended. "He was beaming. It clearly meant the world to him." But everyone involved is aware that the road ahead won't be easy. Therapists who specialize in estranged families often warn that healing old wounds takes time and patience. Decades of hurt can't be undone overnight. Despite the challenges, Kody seems genuinely committed to mending the broken pieces of his family. "I'll do whatever it takes," he reportedly told a friend. "I just want my kids back." Based on family sources, he's even begun going to counseling independently, trying to get a grasp on how to trust again and communicate more effectively. It's a new development for Kody, one many never saw coming. But as for the mothers, Christine, Janelle, and Mary, their response to Kody's overtures has been varied. Christine has indicated she'd like her kids to make up their own minds, but with prudence. She's encouraging them to reconnect with their father, a source said, but she advises them to guard their hearts. She knows the pain he's inflicted. As always, the calm presence has held a more optimistic position. If he's putting in the effort, she supposedly instructed her children, "Give him a chance, but maintain your boundaries strong." Mary, whose own past with Kody is long and complicated, has generally remained silent. But friends say she's quietly hoping for peace and healing. Sister Wives fans have been seeing it all go down, and comments are flooding in on the internet. Some are hoping for the change. "Good for Kody," one fan commented. "Family is everything. I hope he can make it right." Others were less optimistic. "Too little, too late. His kids deserve better." However, there are many viewers who tend to agree. Belated as it might be, Kody making actual efforts towards progress at least is something. Perhaps the most tearful moment was recently when the family came together for a memorial service to celebrate Garrison. The event was said by sources to be powerful and healing. That day, Kody hugged every one of his children. He wept openly, something that does not often happen with him. It was the first time in years they'd all been together at one place, a family friend explained. The kids saw a version of their father that they hadn't seen in a long time. Someone soft, honest, and really sorry. Kody has been thinking hard about his past actions since then. In some quiet talks with friends, he's confessed he lost himself in his pride and ego. "I imagined being a good dad was about paying the bills," he allegedly said. "But what they actually needed was for me to show up, and I didn't." That epiphany has compelled him to begin making concrete, tangible changes. He's backed away from some work obligations. He's cut back on overspending. And most crucially, he's carving out time to show up for school productions, for birthday parties, for those small, ordinary moments that are so very important. Not just say it, he wants to show them, an insider said, and it's beginning to show online. In a recent social media update, Gabriel posted, "We're trying. It's not simple, but I think people can change." Savannah also posted a photo of herself and Kody at the park, with no further caption than "starting over." Even Gwen, who's been outspokenly critical in the past, tweeted a reflective posting. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, but sometimes it's a start. Currently, the Brown family is on shaky ground. There remains pain, there remains distrust, and there remains much work to be done. But for the first time